Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here, and today we are doing not only a trophy update, but also a full channel update because great things have happened in the very recent past, and I am very happy to talk about them. Anyway, today's date is Tuesday, May the 13th of 2025, so this will have covered the week of May the 6th through the 12th, I believe it is. Yeah, 6th through 12th of 2025. So like I said, this has been a very, very good week overall for me, not just because of trophy progress, but because, as you're going to see here, I actually have a functioning computer now. It is a Lenovo Legion. It's got an i9 processor. There's a 4070 in there somewhere. 64 gigabyte RAM, 2 terabyte solid state hard drive. Basically, this thing can actually run equipment without completely breaking down. I will just say, though, it is taking a little while for me to get all of my stuff transferred over to it because for some reason it can't read my really old hard drive. I guess it's because it's probably not formatted for usage on a Windows system after being on a Mac for so long. The problem is, though, if I reformat it to transfer everything over, I think it'll delete everything, so probably can't do that. So I don't know exactly when I'll have everything over, but I've gotten a few things moved over. A couple of Platinum Trophy series or just videos and stuff have been moved over. It's just taken a long time because OneDrive is insanely, unbelievably slow for file transfers. But that is A-okay because it is coming along slowly, and this computer actually works, which is awesome. So definitely we'll be able to start doing things like playing games off of Steam in the future. I'll be able to hopefully go and start doing some retro achievements at some point in the near future. That's going to be super exciting. I can't wait to play some of those old games on emulator and actually get achievements and stuff in them. That's going to be a great time. I cannot freaking wait for that. But in terms of actual trophy progress, I believe these were the previous week. Yep, those were the previous weeks, so nothing to worry about with those. I do want to quickly mention something, though. You guys know how I always joke about Ubisoft having, like, a random intern they hired purely to flip a couple of switches every few months to turn one game on and one game off? Yeah, I am more and more convinced that that might actually be true, because out of absolutely nowhere, Far Cry 2 for the PS3 came back online a few days ago. I don't know if you can actually get the Platinum because I think the community map feature might still be busted, but even so, it randomly comes back after like 2 years of being down. I don't know what they shut down in its place because that seems to be what happens, but I swear I'm not crazy. I legitimately think they have something doing that. Like they just have a random ass intern that just goes in and shuts down one thing and turns something else back on every few months. There's no better explanation for it because it's so illogical. So what are they going to do next? Like shut down Far Cry 5 and then bring back like Assassin's Creed 3 or something if that's one that's been shut down? I don't know. Not knowledgeable on Assassin's Creed. But anyway, with that little rant and bit of information over with, I earned trophies in 3 games this week, including 2 Platinum trophies cleaned up. So, LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. I finished off the Platinum for the PS4 version of the game. I was able to do the PS4 version faster in-game simply because, unlike that version, I sort of knew what to do and knew to really try to save studs and get that 4 times multiplier, as well as the 2 times multiplier as quickly as possible. So you get 3 trophies here just for completing the story mode of the game, so just complete all 18 levels for these first 3 trophies. Finish any level with True Jedi meter in story mode is pretty much going to come naturally. It's pretty much unmissable unless you're just like really not good at keeping studs, but once you get the stud multipliers, you're totally fine. Complete a level with all the mini kits collected. This one won't come until a little bit later. You can either use a guide or you can use the collectible detector or just, go around and find them yourself. Challenge mode is unique to this version of the game because this is the PSP version of the game. Challenge mode is basically where you go in and you have 10 blue mini kits you have to find in a certain amount of time, usually 10 minutes, and you have to find them all within that run or else you have to retry it. So complete any one of those for the first time. You're going to have to complete all of them anyway. You have to complete a level with the full True Jedi meter in free play because this is one of the handful of old LEGO games that actually makes you do True Jedi 2 different times, which is kind of weird, but okay. Then you have to collect a power brick for the first time. You do not have to collect all 18 of these. If you want 100% in-game completion, you do, but you don't need these all for the platinum. I would recommend definitely getting all of these stud multipliers, but other than that, you don't really need to get any of the others, even though some of the other ones can definitely be helpful, like invincibility and such. So just collect one of them for the first time. The earliest you can do this is the 3rd level of the game in story mode. Super Story is basically a little bit of a challenge gauntlet type of thing where you have to run through all 6 levels of any one specific movie in a row within an hour while collecting 100,000 studs. Episode 4 is very easy. It gives you way more than enough time compared to what you actually need. Episode 5 is definitely harder. It's definitely a much tighter time limit toward the end, as is Episode 6, though I actually did really, really well on Episode 6 this time. Like, I got through it in like 50 or 51 minutes, which is definitely better than I did on the PS5 version. And you also have the rewind feature, because this is one of those classics titles that has the rewind feature, which makes life a whole lot easier on certain aspects like that. Then you have to beat a character and mini-kit bonus. There's one of each in each of the 3 movies for 6 total of these levels. Basically, the character bonus is you go in as a character to an open world and you have to collect 1 million studs in a short amount of time. Mini-kit bonus is the exact same thing, but with vehicles. Neither of these are particularly hard, though they may take a couple of tries to get all 6 gold bricks tied to these, so just do keep that in mind. Then you have to collect all the gold bricks in the game. There are 99 total gold bricks in this version of the game, and you collect them pretty much just by completing each level for the first time. You have to get the True Jedi meter in both story and free play, so that's going to be 3 out of your 5 bricks. Find all 10 mini-kit pieces in a level, which will get you your 4th brick, and then your 5th brick comes from challenge mode, and then there are the 3 additional bricks from completing the character bonus, mini-kit bonus, and super story for each movie. So 33 bricks per movie, 99 total. Once you've collected 60 gold bricks, you can access the LEGO City bonus level. This is the first time this was ever a thing. It's a little bit trickier in this one than some of the other LEGO games, just because it's a very, tight limit and there's barely more than 1 million studs in the level, and some of them can potentially be missed depending on how quickly you destroy buildings. So just use the force on everything first and then start destroying them. You have to, ride all the vehicles and the animals and stuff like that. Just explore everywhere, pop seeds out of the ground, all that good stuff. Then you have to purchase all the hints, which takes 3,000 studs, super easy to do. Purchase any one character, again, that's pretty self-explanatory. Just purchase any character. The cheapest one's the Gonk droid, he's less than 2,000 studs. Purchase any of the 3 ghost characters. You can't get these until you finish the main story of the game, and they cost 1 million to 1.2 million studs each, so just keep that in mind. They're quite expensive. Do this one very near the end of the game. Purchase any of the extras. The cheapest ones are 5,000 studs, so this is no problem either. Then you have to hold 2 million and 6 million studs at once. This is actually a lot more difficult in this game compared to some of the other ones. The reason being that unlike a lot of the other LEGO games that came later on, this one has kind of a busted economy to where it just takes absolutely forever to gain any significant amount of studs. And you need 2 million to even be able to purchase the first stud multiplier, the 2 times multiplier. And then you need another 6 million after that to be able to purchase the times 4 multiplier, which is when you're going to start racking up studs at least a little bit faster. But there is one more of these I'm going to talk about a little bit later because it is a little bit more ridiculous. Then you have to complete the 3 additional bonus levels. These are unique to the PSP version of the game. These were not in the PS2 version of the game. They're basically just a chance to replay the final boss fight of each movie from the original LEGO Star Wars. You just have to complete them in story. Now, they actually do have studs in them, and you can actually get the True Jedi mode in them for some reason, but it just shows that you got it, but it doesn't give you anything for it, and there's no mini kits. So I don't know why they wouldn't have just put in the mini kits and everything into these levels. I have no idea why. But hey, that was their choice, so not gonna question the developers in this particular case. Create any one custom character, just change one thing on the character, rename them, and you'll get this trophy. You can do this from pretty much the beginning of the game. Then you have to purchase all the characters in the game as well as all the vehicles, which is going to cost you quite a few studs, but you'll have more than enough studs when you get this final trophy to purchase everything. 4 billion is the maximum amount of studs that you can have in this game. This was a cap in a lot of these earlier LEGO games. 4 billion is a lot. Even with all the multipliers, it is an insanely large amount of studs to get. Because the 10 times multiplier is at like 30 million in this game, which by that point you'll have all the previous multipliers, so it'll go relatively quickly. Thankfully, there is an easy way to do this trophy. It's just a little bit grindy. Basically, what you want to do is complete everything else in the game, get all the gold bricks, but don't waste money on like characters and extras for the most part, except for the multipliers. Then you can go outside the cantina, and once you have all 99 gold bricks, you can build a stud fountain that infinitely shoots out studs. Now, it's still relatively slow, but it's much faster than replaying levels. So just stand under that for a while, and you'll eventually get the amount of studs you need for this trophy. Then you can go in and buy everything that you still need, and you will be good to go at that point. So yeah, just keep in mind that, unlike some of the other LEGO games, this one is kind of a weird way of being grindy. But it's not difficult at all. Like, the super story really isn't that bad thanks to the rewind feature, especially if you have knowledge of the game. Like I talked about in my PS5 version of this game, that video, I love this game. This game came out at a great time for me. It helped me get through quite a bit of challenging times, so it was a lot of fun getting to platinum it twice here. Hopefully we get some of the other old LEGO games, the original LEGO Indiana Jones, the original LEGO Batman, maybe the Complete Saga, like the original Complete Saga. I think that one was on PS2, but I could be wrong on that. I think I played it on the Wii, actually. And of course, the original LEGO Star Wars is even more of an all-time classic to me. But yeah, the next game we worked on was College Football 25, and I finally got the Platinum Trophy here as well. So, this game is relatively easy by sports game standards. The problem is I'm not good at sports games, as we all know. And this game has exactly one extremely annoying trophy in the multiplayer function, whereas the rest of it is pretty easy and honestly very, very fun. I had a lot of fun with all the single-player stuff in this game. It was just that one multiplayer trophy that really pissed me off and caused a crash out or two. And probably multiple more outside of actually streaming it. But anyways, with this, you have 3 trophies, you have this trophy first, which is going to be probably one of the first trophies you get. All you have to do is just complete a single game in the Play Now feature, so just play your first game and you're good to go, which I would definitely recommend doing no matter what, because we haven't had a college football game in over a decade, so probably makes sense to play that and get used to the game these days. Then you have 3 trophies here for the basically Dynasty mode. I think you might also be able to do it in a different mode, but I just did them all in Dynasty. So you have to win the Heisman, you have to get to the playoffs, and win the championship. So for those who don't know how this stuff works in college football here in the United States, Division I college football, it works a little bit differently in the other divisions. Basically, at the end of the season now, the top 12 teams, as selected by a committee, get the chance to play in the college football playoff. This is after playing 12 regular season games, and if you get to it, 1 conference championship game. So once you've done all of that, you then go into the actual playoffs, where it's a 12-team bracket. The top 4 teams get a bye through the first round of it, which puts it down to 8 teams. So the best teams only have to play 3 games. The lower-ranking teams have to play 4 games if they want to win the whole thing. So just get to the playoffs for this trophy and then just win the championship, which... Here's the thing that makes all of this so easy, is that you can adjust the sliders for all of the enemy players, for all the AI players, and just make it so that they really can't do anything to you. Now, I would recommend if you want to at least enjoy the game a little bit more, give them at least a little bit in their stats so they don't just fumble the ball every single time you touch them. But don't make it like super hard on yourself unless you're actually like legitimately good at this kind of game, which I am not. So I had it at a pretty low setting, though not quite at 0 for a lot of it, just so that I could get at least a little bit of fun out of it, and make Clemson great again in college football. We'll see what happens in 2025 to 2026 season, because it should be an interesting one. And also, you can actually sim through games and skip out on them and not have to actually play them if you want to get this as fast as possible, but keep in mind that if you're going to do that, you want to save manually before every time you sim, because even if you pick a team that should win easily, you may still lose. And that actually happened to me the first time I was doing this, because I played against App State. It was our second game of the season, and I simmed it, and they lost at home, because that's how simming sometimes works in this. But then they would beat other teams that they probably shouldn't have won so easily against, so I don't get it. You also have to win the Heisman. Now, this is the award that is supposed to be given to, like, the best player of the season. It doesn't actually go to the best player sometimes. It's more of a popularity contest now out here in the real world. But the game is a little bit more fair about it. If you start playing like really, really well as a certain player, you should end up getting this. I ended up having like 3 players finish in the top 5 voting, and one of them won it. But there is also apparently an easy way to get this just through like simming with a certain team. So apparently it's fairly easy to get that way as well, but I wanted to get it as legitimately as possible. Then you have to play any game with the custom school from the download center. This one's kind of buggy, like the solution in the trophy guide doesn't actually work, so you have to look up a different solution. I don't actually remember what I did for it. Then you have to start your ultimate team journey, which is basically just like building your own team. I think this is a thing in all the like Madden games and stuff. Then you have to complete 10 challenges in Ultimate Team, which is extremely easy because there's like over 100 of them, so it's not difficult at all. You can just do all the basic ones. Start your road to the college football playoff. This is the online multiplayer mode. Just play a single game of it and you will knock this trophy out, no problem. Then you have to defeat an opponent with a higher tier ranking, so you can play as a tier 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 team. Play against any team that is a higher tier than you and beat them, and you will get this trophy. And yes, if they quit out of the match midway through it, it actually will count as an automatic victory for you, which is how I got this trophy so quickly upon playing. Like the first or second match I went into, the person like quit after I made a good play. So I got very lucky with that. Was able to get this trophy done real quickly. Come back to this one later, because that's the problem child of the list. An 80-yard passing touchdown and a 50-yard rushing touchdown. With both of these, you just basically need to set up the game to where your opponent is really weak and has like no stats for these 2 particular trophies, and then just knock them both out. They're not really difficult. And then alongside those, you also have to get 200 yards rushing and passing with the same player in a game, which is going to have to be done with your quarterback. Now, this one is a little bit finicky. It does seem to take more than 200 each, or it may not actually show you when you lose yards, so you might need to get like 250 each just to make sure it counts. But you can set the game to have full 15-minute quarters against, an AI that has 0 stats, and you should have no problem doing it that way. Then you have to do this one. This one I would recommend just setting it to the minimum amount of time, and then just make sure that you have the ball fairly close to the enemy goal line at the end of the game and have the game be tied at that point, and then just win it on the final play. It might take a couple of tries to get it perfect, but it's not too hard, especially with those being, 0 stats and all. Just also make sure you select a rivalry game. So for me, it was like Clemson versus South Carolina, or like Florida versus Florida State, Georgia versus Georgia Tech, Alabama versus Auburn, Michigan versus Ohio State. You get the picture with that. And then finally, you have to force a turnover with any team that has a unique turnover tradition. I'm not sure exactly which teams work for this overall, but I do know that Miami, Florida, the Hurricanes, they do work for this because they sort of created the whole turnover chain thing like almost 10 years ago now. It was kind of stupid then and still is, but I mean, they made a whole trend and meme out of it, so there's that. So yeah, just do Miami versus some easy team and force a turnover with those 0 stats and you'll get it, no problem. So this is by far the hardest trophy in the game, because to get to freshman in a single season of Road to the College Football Playoff, you have to win 3 to 4 games. And if you lose to a lower ranked team than yourself, you will actually lose spots, so you'll have to win more games. If you want to try to do this legitimately, I would say play as like a tier 3 team and search for a tier 2 team, or a tier 4 team and search for like a tier 3 team, or even a 5 versus a 4. Just make sure you're searching for teams that are higher ranked than you. If you play as a tier 5 team every single game, you can't lose spots because of the bottom tier, so at least that's good. So usually with that, 3 wins will end up being enough. But they all have to be in the same season, and the season's only 10 games. So I just could not manage to get this playing normally because the game is so full of tryhards and a few hackers here and there, to where it was just a miserable experience to try and get legitimately. Thankfully, though, I was able to boost this, and you can actually boost this with just one partner. So basically what you want to do is make sure you're both ranked as whatever the lowest ranking you can be is. And once you're there, you're just going to want to select a tier 5 team, then have your opponent select a tier 1 team or like a 2 and 4, and just tell each other which team you selected, and then have the game start, do one play on either side, and then have the high-ranking seed leave the game. And that will end up getting you progress. That'll end up getting you a good amount of points and move you up. And then you just have to finish out the season after that. Now, the main problem with this is that for some reason, once you get to freshman ranking, you can no longer play against the lowest tier opponents, which is really, really annoying, and the trophy doesn't pop until the end of the season. So I suppose what you might be able to do is, like, maybe you have one player that's the tier 5 against the tier 1 win, like, 6 games in a row doing that, to where they should be pretty high ranking by that point. Then just switch it around and be like, you play as the tier 4 team and they play as the tier 5 team, and quit out of 4 straight matches, and you should still be ranked as a freshman, but don't quote me on that one because I'm not exactly sure of the math. So if you are boosting this, only one person can get the trophy, really, so that's kind of dumb, and I don't know if you can even reset your ranking at any point in time. So yeah, that's really weird, but unfortunately that's how it is. So like I said, aside from this one trophy, this game was a lot of fun, but that one trophy kind of ruined the experience for me, especially with the online. And finally, we have Sly 3 on the PS4. I got back into this and made some progress on it. Basically, the first 3 episodes are done, except for the final Master Thief challenge in each of them, which is the treasure hunt, which those are easy, we just can't do those yet. I've also started on episode 4, I've done like the first 1 or 2 missions here. And then episode 5, obviously, I haven't started on, same with episode 6. And then in terms of miscellaneous trophies, we've got 2 of the 3 done in the first area. I did go ahead and knock this one out just before getting this recording going, because it's very, very easy. It just takes a few minutes. This one you can't do until you get to episode 5 and you actually have all 3 disguises available, but then you just have to get yourself caught with each of them. Then already did all the ones for episode 2. Then episode 3, I had already done a couple of them, but I also managed to get this one. This one's a little bit annoying, but people gave me good strategies for this one. Basically just run around the buildings and train mugshot around the buildings, take a few shots here and there, and you should be fine. This one is a little bit finicky, unless there's an easier way to do it than just bouncing with the ball on really narrow ledges. Then this one's actually pretty easy thanks to the rewind feature, because of course you have the rewind. This one is kind of annoying, at least the second half of the fight is, even with the rewind feature, because he's actually a pretty challenging boss. And then you have the episode 5 stuff, you have the episode 6 stuff, and then you have your miscellaneous trophies with each character, which I've already finished off Sly's, and pickpocketing loot as each character, which I'm very surprised I got that early. Bentley's I think we could go ahead and do if we wanted to. Murray's, we might actually be able to do Murray's now too, but I might need to buy a few more things. Purchase everything in the game takes forever because you need a crap ton of coins, which you can farm during the pirate level, but it still takes a long time. And then just view the gallery for all episodes, and of course finish all the Master Thief challenges. And really, aside from the final boss fight and a little bit of that General Sal fight, there's nothing insanely hard about this game and its trophy list overall. Mainly thanks to that whole rewind feature. So, yeah, that is actually all the trophy progress, but it was a lot of good trophy progress. 2 platinums cleaned up, 1 more game being worked on, so yeah, let's go ahead and sync those trophies on up. Alright, so interestingly, I actually recorded this through OBS, which is the first time I've ever done like a true video through OBS, because I'm having some issues getting it to work on the other version, getting it to work on the Elgato on this computer, which I have to have the Elgato connected to be able to stream or record stuff on this, but at the same time, OBS seems to work reasonably well. It just takes some getting used to, so I do apologize if there are some hiccups early on. It might take me a little while to get used to it, so just be a little bit patient with me with that. I've watched a couple tutorial videos, so I've got a basic idea of how everything works, but still got a ways to go on it. So, level 894, 51%, 30,217 total trophies, 869 platinums, 5,797 golds, 8,131 silvers, 15,420 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week. things should be mostly back to normal this week. I don't think I've got any major plans upcoming for at least another like month until like Father's Day probably. We got Memorial Weekend coming up, and that's a long weekend, but I don't really plan on doing really anything for that. So otherwise, it's mostly just going to be playing games and stuff. So Sly 3, obviously, want to keep working on that. Hopefully get close to being done with it soon. I may still do one more test stream just to see if I can get the desktop settings to work correctly and start actually streaming stuff on like Steam and on Retro Achievements and stuff like that. I might do like a brief test stream of that one night. It might even just be a private stream just for me being able to see if it actually works. And whenever I end up doing that, if I can make sure that it works, then I can definitely start doing that at some point in the future, which is going to be super exciting. Can't wait to start doing RA. Can't wait to start just playing random Steam games. Definitely want to do a series for Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 because I've never even touched Fallout 2. And I've never been able to play past the first like 10 or 15 minutes of Fallout 1 because I never had a computer that could run it correctly. So yeah, super excited for all of that, and could also potentially like run mods in like Fallout 3 and New Vegas, so that's more just for my own enjoyment more than anything else. So yeah, super excited for what the future holds. So hopefully we'll start getting videos and streams of, you know, completely different things that are still technically achievement trophy hunting tied for the most part. Could go for like Steam achievements in games in some cases. That could be a lot of fun. Potentially make videos from that. So lots of things we can do moving forward. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't done so already. Definitely thank you guys for holding out with me for so long with my old computer. Even though it doesn't work well now, it did serve me very well for 7.5 years, which is extremely long for a laptop these days. So thank you, old laptop over here. And thank you guys for sticking with me through all of that. And I will see you guys back here later this week for hopefully a more normal schedule. So see y'all then.